for the grand finals. The issue is, the echo in my bathroom will be unreal. And the water would get cold, and then I'll get cold. And I'll get sick. You know? So, I don't know, man. And I can't get out of the top once I get in, because I've got to get water everywhere. Which means the second I sit down, that's where I gotta pee. It's where I gotta eat, drink, etc. And it's a long broadcast. And Riley's not home, so I can't leave the bathtub once I get in. That's a problem. You know? That's a big problem. Game is starting. Dokkaebi ban comes out from G2. This is Villa, keep that in mind. G2 is starting on the defensive side. That is why they got the first ban. So G2 defense and G2 is blue. It's always so confusing. But we got it worked out. Got it worked out. Thatcher ban from Parabellum, so no Monty ban will come through. I am curious if we see a Clash ban or not. Both teams can play it, I'm sure. Nope. One eye from Parabellum. And last ban from T2. Update timeout, please. There is no timeout currently. You know, it's currently banning phase, but it's gonna automatically pull through. Valkyrie ban coming out from G2, so the Dokkaebi, the Valkyrie, the Thatcher, the Wamai. Nothing out of the ordinary. Wamai is actually a fairly common ban on Villa. You can hide the magnets and the beams above and whatnot, and it's a lot harder to clear that stuff vertically, whereas clearing like Jaeger ADSs can be done with something as simple as IQ to the floor. IQ isn't played a whole lot this event, but it is possible. No, I can't show the game if in shop. No one's allowed to show the game. Kayak 6ing off the mirror onto Clash, and that right there is what we spoke about earlier. Is the potential Clash and even multiplay from G2. I was actually expecting Parabellum to ban the Clash. If they had watched the group stages, they would see that G2 played it on Oregon. And they've seen BDS play it on multiple maps to great effect. And G2 is not really known to play with my whole lot, so I'm not sure what that's about. I'll take it. It's interesting that they're picking Clash for the kitchen, if of all things. This could easily be a top floor roam with the Clash. That way you can kind of get more stable ground top floor. Because typically the issue with holding upstairs is that it falls apart rather quickly, and then you kind of gotta fall back. The Clash gives you a moving shield that you can play behind if you're a gunner like, say, Kento, Citizen, or Virtue. Or Uno, but he's on post below, so not gonna be Uno, right? Couple that with the destructibility that Villa has, which is, we'll see. Look at the top floor. Do I miss the big stage? I do, of course. Of course I missed the big stage. I always said that the reason why I wanted to be a Pro League player more than like a streamer or anything else at the time was because there's a lot of ways to get the feeling you get from being a content creator. But there's no way to get the feeling of being on stage besides being on stage, right? It's not something you can achieve in any other line of work unless, again, you're like a singer, a dancer, you know, a Pro League player, or whatever. Unless I hold a fucking, like a seminar where I talk about how streaming on Twitch is great, you know, like on a stage, having like a little pep talk. Or TED Talk? TED Talk. So yeah, playing on stage is, gonna miss it.
Able to gather information here for free, as there have been some reinforcements committed there inside of library. That's great, and that is so valuable for G2. Now they know that they're trying to take
this event though, pretty cool. More historical look. So yeah, having a historical look with the first invite of its kind is kind of cool as well. Has landed right beside his feet. Always surprised to see teams bring Nomad to these staircases. Those air jabs don't actually hold the flank at all. You can just walk below them slowly, and you can either lean and then trigger them, or you can just simply shoot them. Uno gets found early by Pengu by Penguin jumping into jungle and gets a refrag back from Citizen. Citizen look to up the aggression here and retake living and take every fight he can get. He takes it, gets diffuser down as well. That's Penguin taken off the board. No Harpies for the side of Parabellum. 2 for 2, so 3 versus 3. And half the round has just barely gotten through, and we're already seeing quite the aggression from both teams. Uno had no backup down below, forced to run back pretty early, so G2 expecting a top floor attack. The Parabellum actually came down quite quickly. Didn't allow the pulse to do much work. The Parabellum wants to push through here through China and White. They could also go launch from at the outside door. And this is where the Clash now gets super activated. She can lock down one entry point and let the rest of her teammates do the rest of the work. And G2 here don't have to do anything really. They even have a C4 and Citizen, which means they can plant an eye if Parabellum gets deep.
Wait for a little bit of intel to come on through. There's still 6 drones.
So I would say nothing short of a perfect Clash position here. Yeah, they are putting a guy into White, one guy Laundry, and one guy to plant. Virtue does find Diffuser. Now Spirit's deep on side against a Clash, gets shot down. Virtue finds Euphoria, and now it's just Kayak running backwards, baiting it out. Doesn't have to take any fights here, and Spirits can be quite frustrated with that. Actually gives up chasing the Clash and almost gets Bikini, but finds the injure, and G2 takes the first round. And I will say, if there was ever a kitchen situation that would work out in favor of a Clash pick, it would be a situation where there is no verticality. So I think Kai can be quite pleased with that.
That is where the roam potential of Villa comes in massively.
Matching year 2040, and Pengu is presenting a TED talk to the young upcoming esports players. Hey, I'm down, dude. I'm down. I am down. Was there a time so far post retirement where you thought that it might have been the wrong move? Nah, I don't really believe in I don't believe in regrets. You know, like, you make the best decisions you can at the given time with the information available to you. Something to know there, SK with Diffuser actually White swung Virtue. He didn't have to fight Virtue at all, he could have actually ran into side. So that's a bit worrying. I didn't notice it before. Yeah, you always make your decision to the best of your ability in the moment, right? And it's easy to go back after you've made the decision and say, oh, now I know better. So in hindsight, that was a bad decision, right? But it's really not fair to think in hindsight. You did the best you could with what you had. And that's all that matters. I retired because the game was in a rough state. I was burned out. I wanted a break. And there's a lot of really good things supposedly happening, you know, in the future. And some good things have already happened, like the meta is changing and stuff. But it doesn't make up for the, you know, the past either. Like, I still want a break. I still think that's the right choice. And I still might come back after a year. But I do have a 1-year break minimum where I cannot play Pro League.
I mean, ADS placements, you can get some pretty sneaky.
Yeah, G2 looking happy. There were smiles across the board. I think it was Kayak's 180 or 360 maybe even. I don't know. He was spinning around at least, trying to get that last kill in Spirits. Seems to bring out the smiles of G2, and they win the first round, which is quite relieving, if anything. Any operators that are rarely never played that I think should be a bigger part of the meta? Yeah, Ying. Glass a little bit, but Ying especially. Ying, Clash, Montish, and even Blitz to a degree. I'm surprised they don't get played by more teams. Like, I think we've only seen 2 or 3 teams play Ying. 2 of them were APAC teams. So, yeah, I personally think you can pick Ying almost every single bomb site, every single map, if you wanted to. We're not saying it's like the best, but I definitely think you could. Definitely think so.
Essentially, Kayak's just waiting down here to get himself a C4.
Uno again playing the verticality with the C4 could do great work with that. Kayak also has one as well. Often you'll see the secondary guy, so Kayak on mute in this case, throw the first C4. This allows the pulse to be on the scanner the entire time, give live information, and define Spirits. That's the Ash taken down. Great coordination from Kayak and Uno. Now Kayak can run upstairs if he wants to, and now Uno still has a C4 of his own to keep scanning. What they could also do is that they could actually put Kayak upstairs, rotate Citizen back down with the Melusi C4, and now they have a third C4 to work with. Uno floor bangs Euphoria in the head. He was standing on the deer desk. That is a great shot from Uno, understanding the angle of the verticality. Kento also found Sonar before Penguin took down Kento Raketi himself. G2 in a stable position. Esker runs into 90. No gun up. Gets taken down by Ben. Bit of a Yigers. Kayak tried to run up to help his team. Got shot down as well. But this is a 3v1 post info below and C4. So Penguin can't really ever plant. The info comes out and Ben finds his head. G2 takes the second round. And already now looking to a nice stable position. And again, smiles across the board from G2. Again, G2 getting blessed by the bracket, facing Parabellum first and not a quote-unquote super experienced and arguably a lot stronger roster. You know, had they had to face Liquid, Empire, you know, the likes of those teams first, or any team really, except for Parabellum, I think, it would have been a lot tougher, arguably. They could have faced Team 1, they could have faced Space Station, they could have faced Darkseid, they could have faced Furia, they could have faced Cloud9 and Makers. Because they're all over bracket, right? If they do beat Parabellum, they face Liquid, and that will be the true test of G2 to see if they can push further and deserve the spots. G2 also having saved Villa for quite some time. It would be a shame if they looked weak on it. So far they have looked quite good. I feel like this SI has been very aggressive. It has been. It has been. And I think it might even be the nature of teams not having played LAN events for so long. Like, we see teams still kind of cater to the online meta, you know, super aggression, peak advantage, etc. Could also be that because there's no fans, there's less pressure on players, and therefore they are playing much more loose, much more dynamic, and much more aggressive. Often you go to a big event with, like, you know, a lot of prize money, a lot of, like, pressure on you, big crowd. You often see teams slow down, play more scared, or play more conservative. And there's not a lot of pressure this event. It must feel a lot more comfortable for a lot of players, especially the younger, newer players. I don't think the veterans are too phased by it all. How do you not get the C4 from below without taking downstairs? Well, that's the issue, Collapse. If you do what G2 is doing right now, it's like textbook siege, right? If the enemy clears top floor, and you have 2 C4s below them, you're arguably guaranteed at least 1 kill, with no effort, because the enemy has to roam clear you. So in a perfect world, as an attacker, what you need to do is have a top floor squad with like 1 or 2 guys, so like minimum gunpower, and then have another squad of like 2 guys below and a guy droning for them, right? Because then you're going to be taking 2 floors at the same time and scan. So you take Master as you take Kitchen, then you take you know, Living as you take, like, you know, Short, 90, all that stuff. So you're always moving up the map together. That way, if you have guys above, they can do vertical play below and help, and the guys below can stop the C4 from killing the guys above. If you just sweep top floor, you will have to just gamble with the C4 and verticality. And that never works in the favor of attackers, or sorry, rarely works in the favor of attackers. Something we see in Europe quite commonly done, also by the likes of Rogue. Did the Hibana bug out, or did I miss something? Because the hard wall was breached, but only the outside of it. I don't know if you guys saw. Also, Parabellum, they can't do this. They should know this. The only way they can do this is with smoke grenades, but Jackal has a claymore. The angles you get from top floor go all the way in towards where they're trying to plant. So you can't just walk in like this. Not without taking Vault first. This is, again, just kind of Parabellum's, I guess, lack of experience coming through. I feel like this is something that every team should know. This has been a strat known for many, many years, done in multiple regions, and not all that uncommon. That being said, Parabellum strikes back and they do find Uno. The mirror window that G2 has on side and the verticality involved is going to make or break this bomb site. Either Parabellum pushes deep to plant, which they are currently. That might work if G2 has no information available. They have the mirror window, but no one seems to be responding to it whatsoever. And Parabellum gets away with a free plant for no apparent reason. Not sure what happened there. G2 had a mirror window. As far as I know, it was still up. Could be wrong. And that mirror window should see the entire bomb site if they were to push up. And they had nobody actively on the vertical host to cover this plant. Well done from Parabellum. Without the smoke grenades even, Virtue jumps out, gets shut down by Eska. And now it's all down to Kanto Rakiti, who also gets taken down by Spirits. And Parabellum finding a round out of nowhere with almost nothing to work with. Kind of want to see a replay of what happened there, because G2 had everything. Verticality, mirror window, C4s, advantageous player positions. They had sound queue on site. They had no pressure added onto them from anywhere on the map. But yet, Parabellum still just walked in like it was nothing. So what happened? Kenzo found the first vertical kill. That's great. And Uno died on the flank by the Ash. The mirror window was alive. I don't know. The mirror window was up. Mongus.
It is what it is, but fair play to Parabellum being able to punish G2 for a little bit.
When Uno stayed basement to like lash up the red stairs instead of flanking, you know, all the way down to brown so early in the round, because you know that Uno flanked quite early. That way you're playing more compact near the bomb side, you can kind of lash out together. Now G2 played like a very front-based attack or defense, sorry, where they can only really run into Parabellum. They can't flank around him or lash up from the sides. And with the opening kill on G2's side, they don't need to aggress anywhere whatsoever. This time Jago's got the smokes. That looks a lot better. Sonar. Jago, Claymore, and Villa should be a crime. And it did make the last round a lot harder than it should have been. I do believe if Jago had smokes last round, they could have tried to plant a lot earlier and a lot safer. Hibana got taken out. Vault guy forgot to watch Breach, I guess. Well, watching Breach isn't your only concern, because they actually they opened up a secondary breach on red stairs, right? Which is why if you had Uno stay in basement, so yeah, he could watch the red stairs, he could actually make a lot of work for his team. You have one guy from G2 on the basement cam that watches Uno's back. You have Uno on the basement stairs scanning, right? And if they start challenging the bomb side, Uno can come up the red stairs with that soft wall open, and he can actually challenge into bomb side. And he could even have arguably C4 to planter from that position. So, I don't know. A bit questionable. Especially seeing as Valkyrie's banned, you don't have a lot of information and you're not playing Maestro on T2. So, your only information is your eyes. You know, the mirror window and peeking. And if you don't have that kind of information available to you, then the pulse is great, right? Which is why they're playing it every single round. Outside the fact they can obviously play the verticality. Team on SSG is 2-0 for SSG. Very nice. Nice shell update. This mirror window setup, very interesting. Kayak in a hot spot here, does find one. He's left a bit alone now, and oh my god, Spirits on scopes as he peeks, and Kayak gets a freebie as he gets back to side. Kayak should have never gotten away from that. Kayak with 25 health should have most definitely died, but Spirits choosing to go for a sprint instead of sticking the angle. Gets punished massively. And that would actually been quite nice for Parabellum if they had come through with it. HG looks 2-0, yeah. I saw. Lucas Citizen's aggression, swinging music door. Laundry door. Share one you guys use.
Still 2 C4s in hand for the players of G2.
Yeah, Kayak salvaged the round. I don't know how he got that much value out of that mirror window position. I mean, if you rappel Astro window, that mirror window's gone. But hey, it is what it is. I honestly think if Parabellum slowed down their gameplay just a tiny bit, I actually think they could get a lot further with these attacking rounds. Because the rounds are falling apart, you know, 40-50 seconds into the round. Usually Parabellum will find like an opening kill, and then they'll lose 2 guys. Oof, skis. Kanto actually just swings. Now it's on to Euphoria. 15 seconds left, no diffuser. Kanto SMG11 goes brrr, and G2 takes the 3rd round. Thank you, Hawks.
G2, wow.
Hour 34 of this day, time has lost meaning. Yeah, I hear some people stayed up all day to watch the games because you're American, I imagine, or APAC or something like that. Yeah, the mirror was kind of ass. Like, look at the early round. Parabellum found early kill onto Virtue, And then they lose 2 guys to Kayak. And Kayak falls down. Had Parabellum gotten the first kill on Jaeger, then double peeked the guy on Astro, rappelled on the window to kill the mirror window, anything at all. Parabellum could have easily taken this round into a 3 versus 5, done verticality play onto the bomb site, and then have a great chance at setting up the execute. Parabellum gets a kill, then they speed up, 2 guys die, and then they lose the round basically from that. I don't know if it's like a lack of droning, lack of information, lack of decisions, or lack of calling. But Parabellum is missing one aspect of their attacks right now. Hence why I suggest they slow it down, take more time to figure out what they want to do. Because the speed right now is doing as much damage, if not more, and it's helping them.
There is definitely a debate there.
One Rebel Astro, another one coming basement, and the mirror is tapped. I mean, you can't come from basement, to be fair. That's not possible. Not really, because of G2's positions. But what they could have done is just have a guy Astro window, you know, shoot the mirror window canister open, or just open the window as the guy comes from bathroom and take that 2v1. Have a guy rappel in as you swing the bathroom door. That way you put Kayak in a 2v1 again. They could have a guy come bathroom door and a guy come statue door, and again 2v1. Instead, one guy went bathroom, he died. 10 seconds later, Ash came from statue alone, she died. Had they just synced it up, 3, 2, 1, go at the same time, they would have pretty much gotten a guaranteed refrag in a 1-for-1 trade at worst case. And someone like Kayak, if you open up the Astro window and stuff like that, he will get a lot more pressure onto him. And a lot of scenarios like those, they are all about adding pressure. You want to make players in the opposing team feel like they're under attack, like they're stuck, like they're in danger. And if you just walk in through one door that G2 has information on with a pulse, you're not going to feel very scared as Kayak. You're going to feel confident. You know where he is. Uno's calling out for you. Your teammate has your default cam. They know it's clear. No one's coming from basement. No one's coming from statue. No one's coming from trophy. All you gotta do is fight the bathroom door. Not very difficult to do. So you want to try and put G2 in uncomfortable and difficult positions. Like, look at this main stairs positions right here from Virtue. This is a classic minigame of killing the shields, destroying ADSs, and getting an angle onto him. And Parabellum almost got caught with their pants down, but Spirits runs up past the smoke grenade, finds Virtue. That is great. Keep in mind though, if Spirits was killed, there was no refrag available to him. And speaking of refrag, Uno swings wide from office, does get traded back by Pengu, much better from Parabellum. While that happened, look again, Kayak now swung as well and found an isolated target in Sonar. So again, G2 abusing the fact that Parabellum is not in super refragable positions, trading 1 for 1 for 1 for 1 for 1. And now it's down to a 2 versus 2, which again, favors D2, it favors the defenders. Kento lashes out, gets shut down, Kayak lashes back, SMG11 in hand, and now we're down to a 1v1. Eska is injured and Kento is killed. Note how he has a C4, so if the plant does go down, he can use that. You can C4 to the left, swing right, and the guys of force run out. C4 misses. Very surprised how that happened, but Kayak finds the kill regardless, and G2 takes the round 4-1. Yak attack doesn't let anyone down, and the SMG11 replacement is coming through. The Yak is 6-0-2 and has put the first clutch of the playoffs onto his back.
From Kayak. Using that mirror window
very
to
nice.
Advantage, having the information.
What Kayak did though, pretty smart. You C4 the left hand side of the rotate hole, you swing into office. Either C4 kills the guy planting, or the guy will run into office for cover, where Kayak would be there to meet him with the SMG11. So, very well done, very methodical from Kayak. I would have done the exact same thing. It's the most logical. I do think if Uno hadn't sprinted back, like panic sprinting, I think Uno could have killed the Penguin on the balcony as well. Uno only spent like 5 or 6 bullets on his vector. Had he killed the guy top main, then held the study door and just walked backwards, or even stayed aggressive in office, I think Uno would be in a pretty good position to win that gunfight. But Uno ran away, back turned against him, and just kind of died for nothing there. Or he died for a kill, but still. Could have gotten more, maybe. Yeah, it's a good competition for SMG11. That is very true. SMG11's been like the most deadly weapon this event. Everyone's like nasty with it.
Been a tough tournament for G2.
IGL for G2 currently? It's probably G2 and Kayak. It was me and Uno before. Before that, it was me and Fabian. So I assume that Uno will keep the tradition of him staying RGL. And then and that's also why you see Uno play like pulse. It's why you see Uno play more of like a flex or frontline role as well on attack. Because Uno's a very vocal player. And I imagine that Kayak is also taking over the RGL reins. Mainly on attack, I imagine. If I had to guess without knowing, I think Uno is the defense IGL, like primarily. And then Kayak is like mainly the attacking IGL. That's how we did it before. Like I'm mainly an IGL on attack because I, play around the breaches and the plants. And on defense, I play smoke, which I can't IGL with very well. Like, I sit in one corner, and I fight my guys. And, I can't be like, yo, Citizen, let's go over here and C4 this guy and jump out this window together, I don't really do that on defense. Neither does Kayak. He's, again, also often on SMG11 duty. So I do imagine that it's Uno on defense and Kayak on attack.
The Pog mats are in. G2 actually famed for starting the trend of the Pogmat Citizen, most notably as well. And we'll see if they can find any of them in this round. Straight off the rip, Parabellum.
Do I think G2 will recover from group stage struggles? Yeah, I do think so. I think G2 in best of threes, and with all the maps they've been able to like keep hidden, or minimal exposure on them at least, I think G2 has a fair bit of strats, and a fair bit of just general gameplay that hasn't been revealed from them. They can play the mirror, they can play the clash, they can play without them. They're quite flexible in terms of operator bans. So I think as long as G2 plays with confidence and they play together, I actually think G2 is a top 4 contester. As long as they play their A game. But the issue with G2 this event so far has just been that they don't really play on their A game a whole lot. But now in best of threes they have more breathing room. But they have more room for mistakes, but also aggression. They can take risks and they can fail and they can still have a chance to keep doing those risks. Or they can stop doing them and have more time to salvage the rounds, either way.
Parabellum utilizing the verticality that you can have.
So far, G2 looks a lot better than in group stage, but it's also, again, it's Parabellum. It's the first 5 rounds. This is the warm-up, if anything. It's the first game of the day. Everyone's a bit rusty, probably. So will map 2 and map 3 go accordingly? Also, G2 hasn't played Villa, so they have a lot of hidden strats. They have a lot of hidden gameplay. 3v5 from PB, aggression gets put through, and now PB actually playing the refrag game, pushing together, finding 2, and G2 finds 2 back, but Eska finds Uno as well as the 4 for 3, or 4 for 2 actually, as PB is 3 versus 1 against Virtue. Again, SMG11, it really goes hard this event. He finds the head of Eska. Bomb is down. No air jabs left on Euphoria, so Jake should be able to retake with comfort. It will all come down to Parabellum's 1v2, but Euphoria peeks out way too aggressively. In the 1v2, it's all about the crossfire establishment and playing together as a team. And Parabellum now lashed out twice, dying unnecessarily to Virtue. It's still not a great position for Virtue to be in. The defuse is very, very, very difficult. But it's a lot easier than before. The Banshee might just save G2's round here. It's 1 second left. Oh my lord. 0.4 seconds? 0.04 seconds? I don't even know. The Banshee almost salvaged the round for G2. The slowdown on the mobility, he had to find it and melee it and sprint into open arms. But hey, he found the round. Parabellum played it sloppy and they played it messy, but with less than a second left, they managed to pull through. As much of a nice try it was from Virtue, it was an equally if not a bigger mistake on the side of Parabellum. Again, 1v2s, 1v3s, all about crossfire. It's the one thing they failed to do. They had the refrags, they had the aggression, they cleared out Astro quite well, they caught the rotators. They actually did a really, really good job for like the majority of that round. I would say that was the best round from Parabellum this game so far. But at the very end, it just falls apart. They swing, they peek, they get sloppy, they take risks, and it comes down to a 0. I saw 0.3. 0.3 something seconds. Last frame I saw there.
As we seen, as he was able to move in towards Trophy, he was expecting the guy
0.35, yeah.
Side of Astro, maybe in towards Bathroom.
0.35.
He was not ready for.
That's way too close for comfort given the 1v3. The most important thing for Parabellum though is that they did win the round, so there's no tilt applied. They can laugh that one off and say, haha guys, we almost do that, but they didn't. And I do think that the mental difference between haha we might have thrown versus oh shit we actually lost is quite big. SMG11 on land slaps. With Heatdrake being so good, it makes weapons like the UMP, Frosted SMG, SMG11, and DMRs. It makes all those guns extremely good. SMG on land can kill people in a couple of bullets. SMG on line is like a magazine per man, unless you hit the head. Heatdrake is just crazy good on land because of the, you know, land build, lower ping, etc. People, they don't teleport around, so the accuracy gets rewarded even more so. How tall am I? I'm 6 feet, sir. 182 centimeters. G2 bringing Buck now, again sticking to dynamic gameplay, not making the same mistake of Parabellum, going for a one-dimensional take. They can rain havoc from above, they can rain havoc from below, and I imagine that G2 will do the same thing once they attack a bomb site like Kitchen, or when they also attack Trophy. I think this Buck pick is going to stay throughout the entirety of the match, or at least the majority of it. This also helps greatly with the mirror pick. It would help with mute bandit, and it might even help with the shield positions in certain areas. You can open up the canisters and start doing all that work, then you can block out the crucial player positions on site, and then you can actually start executing on the main stairs. Spirits now did find the head of Citizen, not sure exactly where. I assume it was probably from the main stairs, but yeah, or verticality, either or. Yeah, Spirits is the main stairs player, so playing the position of Virtue. Uno walks up, just sees the feats, gets taken down by Penguin. Great refrag there. Or the possibility of a refrag. Playing 2 guys in the main stairs, 1 guy in the vertical holes. Gives Parabellum quite a deadly trap here on the main stairs. Kayak founds 1, will finish up the second, and now in the 2 versus 3. G2's open up the mirror windows, so they can actually lash into side and get some vision, but no, Sonar shuts Kayak down with a C4. And it's all down to Virtue below, but Sonar also takes care of that one. And Parabellum defense is looking better than their attacks. G2 falling apart early game on the main stairs. They failed to solve the mini game, that is, you know, the ABCs of clearing top main. If your ADS clear, get the shield and top main, that should be your step 1. Verticality for the mirror windows, step 2. And then once you've gotten the shield, once you've gotten the mirror windows, that's when you can either flash or grenade execute with the main stairs take. That's generally how you want to ABC it, right? The mirror windows support the office hold, and the main stairs shield and the DSS support the main stairs. Spirits found 1 kill, and Penguin then found 2 kills off the main stairs as well. So they got 3 for 1 on the main stairs, putting them in a 2 versus 4.5. 1 guy was injured.
And that's how you've got to play that.
That's a lot of main stairs value.
You know, don't forget, if Wamai was available here,
I personally played main stairs with G2 and Smoke back in the day, and it's one of the most tiptoey based positions. You got like the window and office, the main stairs, you got like the office door that can just like run in and swing you. You have no info on any area. All you really have is your ADSs and your shield, and as long as those are alive, you're going to feel pretty good if you're playing Smoke there.
Interesting.
So you want to take, you know, the shield ADSs away from that player so that he gets under pressure, so that he makes mistakes, and then you execute. You can't just walk past the shield and ADSs there.
Shaz is the expert in this field, isn't he? You know, tactical timeout.
G2 tactical timeout. Shazzy Daddy will tell the guys some words like, guys, you did great. Now you're doing this great. Let's do great again. Great, great, great. And then maybe talk about a potential swap up in the defenses or the approach to the round. I'm sure Shaz has 1 or 2 things up his sleeve. 6 pick from Parabellum from the Kite into the Echo. And G2 reads it perfectly. Buck 6 pick into IQ. This is likely done to some prep work before the game started, where Shaz will say, guys, win this show, you know, mute castle, they're probably going to 6-pick into the Echo. Often what you do in these circumstances is that you look at the habits of the opposing team, and often what you see is that they will 6-pick X operator into something else. So in this case, the kite to Echo, and G2 got the knowledge of that because they were showing, let's say, the castle and the mute. So that implied that they're doing a master hold with what looks like a closet setup. And G2 setting that up beautifully for themselves. SSG 5-1 to Team 1. Very nice indeed. Update the score.
As they have another round to go through on their attack. Parabellum.
This is also why it's important not to create too many repeating habits, like patterns, if you were to VOD analyze anyone. If you always play Castle and then you always 6-pick into Echo, you can easily, as an analyst or a coach or support staff, say, oh guys, when they play Castle, they 6-pick the Echo on this bomb site. It indicates they're going Master Closet defense, right? So in a perfect world, you should try and create as few patterns as possible. Of course, it's not possible to never make patterns, but it is something to note. G2 once again losing opening kill. That seems to be the story of this game so far. Parabellum, look here. They fall all the way back to bomb side once they get the first kill they wanted. They didn't even want to stay a little bit just to see what more they could do. I respect Parabellum's decision to fall back, but I also think it's a mistake not to try and take more. If you get the first kill and then you kill the drone, oh, Virtue the Great. You see, now they fell back. They gave G2 so much map control, and now it's 4v4. It didn't even matter that they fell back, right? They might as well stay at this point. If you fall back all the way after the first kill, all it takes for G2 is one drone, and then they can push Shift W and take the map back. If you stay after getting the first kill, kill a drone, kill 2 drones, and fall back in stages, it's a lot better for your value and efficiency than just Shift Wing all the way back. So say they stayed, they killed 1 drone, then they fall back to Vault, kill another drone, then they go top red, kill a 3rd drone, then they go back to bomb site. That way you keep G2 guessing, you kill a few drones, and you're also punishing G2's early mistake in Kento Rikiti dying. Instead now they got the kill, but the things that G2 gained from that almost evens out the score, if anything. Thank you, Scrappy, for the prime sub. BTW, by the way.
With his drone tossing it over out onto the balcony and getting immediately caught inside.
G2 will have to figure something out though. They have no hard breach on the side of Kayak and they have no air jabs with the flanks. It's solely down to some gunning power and a single Sophia stun from Unu. No nades from Citizen left. So this is quite the dire position to be in. This shield on the master bed is interesting. It enables the position that Penguin is in right now, playing on the master door. And it kind of just further enforces the position of master. And as long as you have master, you arguably have statue control. And you can even see all the way into trophy if the soft wall is open, which it was. Parabellum evens it up 4-4. This side swap is going to take us all the way probably, but as more rounds gets won from Parabellum, they will go to weaker and weaker bomb sites. So you could argue that G2's odds of winning should only increase by each round they lose, at least until the 3rd round, until it resets. As there will have to be a kitchen or a library bomb site coming up. Easy win for SSG, by the way. Hey, nothing's easy, okay? SSG are just better right now. I didn't expect SSG to do so well, especially considering that they got screwed over last night. They were meant to play yesterday, same with, G2 Parabellum. And then there was an outage where, the stream went down, and instead of playing the games off stream in that moment, they got rescheduled to today. Meaning G2 and SSG are both playing, and Parabellum and Team 1, they're all playing 2 best of 3s today. One in the beginning of the day and one towards the end of the day, with like a break in between. Whereas they were only supposed to play 1 yesterday and 1 today. So it's kind of difficult because you want to bring it your all every single game. But if you are one of these 4 teams that play another game today, You also want to make sure you save enough energy for later. But, of course, the first thing you gotta get past is the first game, because you are out if you don't win. But it's going to be a long game. Imagine playing 6 maps. If you go all 3 maps, both times, you will sleep very well tonight. You might even be sore. Playing a best of 3 like they are right now, at this level of play, I usually make the comparison to running a marathon. I've never ran a marathon, but I imagine it's similar in terms of how exhausted you are. Like, you actually feel physically exhausted and mentally after best of 3 at this level. Obviously, best of 5 is a whole different story. But it is more tiring than you could ever imagine.
Being brought here on the side of G2 as we're not seeing Iana in this
we often speak about the zone. If you get into the zone, you know, you don't care about feelings. Like, you might sit with like bad posture, and the second the game ends and you exit the zone, your back is in so much fucking pain because you hadn't been paying attention to your bad posture. So because of the amount of like hyper intensive focus you need to have, you often, or at least I do, I find myself, you know, hurting after a Pro League game in a best of 3. G2 plays pretty aggressive, finds early kills and pushes into side. They've already breached Laundry actually, or sorry, Pantry. Kayak runs in, gets taken down. The flashbangs didn't connect, but PB also setting up decent crossfire here. Have one guy China, one guy dining. Jaeger swinging out like that does bring a question mark to my eyes, but it's fine because Spirits finds Virtue. Putting now Kento Rakiti in a 1v3 with Diffuser very deep onto the bomb site. Oh my god, Kento wallbangs both players, 1 versus 1 now. C4 comes out, he runs away from it, but it connects. And Parabellum almost lost the round from 2 wallbangs from Kento Rakiti. But the explosion pulled through, and what could have been one of the greater clutches this tournament so far, at least from a sketch factor, got denied. Kento injured the one, headshotted the other, and almost turned the 1v3 to a 1 round.
Where that C4 was it pre-placed at the top of the door? I think he just threw it just in the heat.
That's an interesting first kill from Kento though on the castle barricade.
There was a lot going on in the heat of the moment there. I think Kanto has he's done exceptionally well there to get the wall.
Kayak's had a great game so far, by the way. The flashbang Russian from Kayak was a bit interesting. Also, look at this. Like, one guy pushed in way too early for music, and then after he died, that's when they pushed from Laundry into bomb site. Or Pantry into bomb site. Oh, the guy was perma flashed as well. Kento actually had that round in the back. G2 had a very unsynchronized push. There was a disconnect between Laundry and Pantry push. Had they synergized and pushed at the same time, there is a chance they would have came out on top that round. That's why we have the 3, 2, 1 go callouts. You'll go, ready guys? Ready? Okay, 3, 2, and you go. That way it's like impossible to fuck up and go early. It's also why Dokkaebi and Lion are such great operators. They have a lot of like mentality that they bring to the team. Like, they bring you like an automated 3, 2, 1 go button, right? Because everyone knows, both defenders and attackers, that the Lion scan is an indicator for a push or for something to be happening. So instead of, you know, vocally saying 3, 2, 1 go, you just have Lion charge. Dokkaebi call out. And you work with that. Gives you this like go, 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 go mentality that you have the advantage. Either they're Dokkaebi wrong, they can't be moving, etc. Citizen lurking about, doing rat things, finds Sonar, great kill from Ben. And this is more the gameplay that we love to see from Citizen. It's what he's best at, and he does it wonderfully once again. Now the Ash below can help with verticality if there is a shield or any obstacle in G2's way. Citizen is rather alone with not a whole lot of backup. There is a yellow ping and a drone. He peeks for info, doesn't take the fight. Very smart of Citizen. Had he taken the gunfight there and lost it, would have brought it back to a 4v4, and they would have lost what they just gained. So Ben playing it smart, consolidating when he has to. Also note that Citizen is very much alone, so there's no value in him taking overly risky gunfights. Had he had another amigo down there, he could have easily swung that guy and just hoped for the best.
and you'll see him ramp up.
Knowing your limits is a big part of these kind of rounds. And SSG won 7-1, I hear. So any percent speedrunners from SSG, I believe they play Clubhouse, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what I saw. I could be wrong. And I also believe they started defense. So it looks like SSG gained momentum from defender's side at beginnings. That's a great way to start off your day. Clubhouse indeed, defense indeed. Yeah, that's like a great way to start. G2 also started defense on Villa. Didn't get as many rounds as they wanted to necessarily, and didn't get as many rounds as SSG got on Clubhouse. But starting defense is always, I think, the mentally correct thing to do. That way you can just kind of sit back, let them make the decisions, you know, get a few early rounds, be in the driver's seat, and then have a good game from there on. Whereas if you start an attack, you gotta make decisions, you gotta be proactive, you gotta problem solve, you gotta be very, very vocal about what you see and what you drone. And I think if this is the first game of the day, or first map of the day, starting defense just adds like another layer of benefit than before. Virtue jumped out with Diffuser. He might be trying to go study and then go in from the study balcony where Kento is. I think that's a great choice, but they haven't cleared out the vault yet. They haven't gotten the jammer below and the wall is not breached, and this is going to punish G2 immensely as they walk in trying to find the refrags, but Shotgun finds one, does not find a second. Uno gets taken down. Sorry, Uno takes down Penguin, but Eska shuts down Uno. There we go. And PB playing the refrag game and the strong positions on site that G2 could not clear with the verticality, and they could not breach the walls, punishes them once again. And this is like a classic G2 problem where the vault wall doesn't get opened, the study wall doesn't get opened, and Parabellum is just bunkered up on site, and the only thing they gotta worry about is a single door. And that is a door top red that G2 ran through. Of course, they gotta worry about the study door as well, but with a shield top main, the study guy is hardly an issue, if any. The difference that we saw previously when they attacked that side. So if you do get the vault wall open and deny the vault position, that's one way to solve that round. If you get into study and you breach the wall from study into vault, that's the second way of solving the round. If you get vertical play to clear out vault from below so that no one can play in there, a third way to solve that round. If you manage to clear top main successfully, again, another way to solve the round. There's a couple of ways to approach it. G2 did find like the mirror window below and stuff, but ultimately you probably want to get the vault breach or the breach in top main if possible.
Yeah, you're gonna have to put something else in there. You're gonna have to put a lifeline or some stun grenades.
I do think so.
That is just what it is.
Again, it's about creating problems to the defenders. If they're happy with what they have, then you haven't done a good enough job with your attack. Defenders will set something up, attack will pick it apart, and defenders will go, shit guys, they've done a lot of counterplay, they breached the walls, they gotten our mirror windows, they've killed our bomb denier, what the fuck do we do now? And then the defenders will lash out in desperation, they'll have to salvage something by either flanking, verticality, or just winning gunfights, right? If defenders can say, hey guys, we got them in a lockdown, they can't do shit, that's usually an indicator of your attack not going the way that it should have been, or at least the attack didn't go to the depths that it should have gone. And since they didn't pick apart the round. Kento or Nomad? Kento or Nomad is fine, I think. Kento is kind of like secondary support in a way. No one on this map is really like hard support except for Kayak, and no one's really a +1 except for Ben. We see Citizen roaming around solo below, so he's expendable. He's an Ash, he can do with vertical play. He has a good gun. He's like expendable in the sense that expendable, I think is the word, right? Like he's not needed because they got Uno to back up him in case like the soft breach dies. Uno is no longer backup. Uno gets shut down by a beautiful C4 from Sona. That's the post info coming out and gets massive value early on. Expendable, yes. So basically getting either Kento, Virtue, or Uno on the Nomad makes sense because they'll be in the building, they'll be droning other entries in, and they will basically be able to put down those air jabs as they take the map control. The only guy that couldn't play Nomad here would be Citizen, because he's roaming below. You want to have a good gun and soft breach or verticality on him. You know, it could be Box, Sophia, Ash, etc. Could even be nades. It's less value, but it's still impactful. That C4, however, shutting down G2's momentum early, and now Penguin finding Citizen. Now G2 has to pull something out of nowhere. It's 3 versus 5. PP is known for over-aggression. They're also good at shutting down G2's mobility. Look at 3 guys in Astro, all holding down this door on Virtue. PB just has to play refrag. If they trade 1 for 1, they will win this game 2-0. And that's all they want.
They still have all 5 players alive. 5 versus 3, and with the utility that has been lost.
Kind of rotating over, trying to find a different opening. So it's gonna be 2 guys Astro, 1 guy top red stairs. Kind of take Spirit swings wide, finds Virtue's head, make that 2v5. As I say that, 5 versus 1. Last man standing is Kayak. Just entered office. This would be the most spectacular round, one of the most spectacular rounds in all of Siege Pro League history if he were to win this. He does find Sonar, and now the over-aggression starts. PP should be falling back, but they actually swing in, and they find Kayak and take the first map off Villa. A map that G2's been hiding for quite some time, and a map that seemed to go G2's way the first 3 or 4 rounds, give or take. Parabellum figured out how to break it apart, and they kept up the momentum, they kept up the aggression, and they kept clawing away at G2's early round by getting opening kills and man lead advantages. Problem solving for G2 only cost them 2 rounds, so not the main problem, but it was a bit concerning to see. And that's gonna cause a bit of concern for G2 as they're now on their, well, series point, tournament point. If they lose the next map, they are going home within 48 hours. As when you do lose, I believe it's 48 hours, you have to leave Paris. Or France in general, I guess it might be even.
We regularly said.
At least SSD is winning. Not false. Alright, so for the first time this tournament, we can now give Parabellum a map point. Right down there. Bang bang. Best of 3 function working greatly.
Honestly, I'm very, very impressed by what Parabellum.
Second map was, I believe, Cafe into Clubhouse. Cafe is something we've seen G2 play a fair bit of times with mixed results, but I would say more good than bad. I also think if you look at the way that Parabellum played Villa, at least, I do think that that Cafe actually favors G2. Looking at how isolated they play and how they don't really play heavy strategy, but more so, at least on Villa, which does favor Villa, the early aggression. If Parabellum has the possibility of playing a more strategical, synchronized Cafe, it could be trouble for G2. But just looking at this first map, I actually think we're gonna go all the way to Clubhouse. Clubhouse is kind of like the mix and match between Villa and Cafe. It has like aggression, gunfights, advantages, but it also has that strategical depth with like the Thatcher MPs, the Maverick Walls, the breaches, and the setups on both attack and defense. So I predict that G2 takes Cafe, and I predict that we go the entire way to Clubhouse. Is Cafe's G2's map? I could be wrong, but, well, actually, I thought Villa would be their pick, but they also started defense. So unless Parabellum started attacking, I think Villa was G2's map, because they've been hiding it for a while, and they finally played it. Yeah, Villa was G2's map, yeah. That makes sense. It makes the most sense if G2 picked Villa. So Parabellum picked attacking starting side then, yeah? They must have. Which is surprising, given that it's Villa. Because whoever picks the map don't get to pick starting side. The advantage of starting attack is that defenders, they have the first map ban, or sorry, operator ban. So on maps like Clubhouse, and even Cafe, it's very common for teams to pick the attacking starting side because of the whole Thatcher Maverick bans and stuff. That way you get to dictate what happens next. Yeah, Villa was G2's map pick and Cafe was Parabellum's. Yeah, confirmed. But yeah, if you start defense, then you also gotta do the first attacker ban. Attacker ban is the most important ban in Siege because it dictates the most, you know, with the likes of the Heartbreach, the Maverick, the Thatcher bans, etc. So the downside of starting defense, which is arguably the stronger starting side for most maps, is also that you need to show your cards early and get decided by the opposing team. So starting attack does have a decent advantage at times.
This is all in preparation, of course, for map 2 Café Dostoevsky.
In the Canadian League, Parabellum is a great cafe team. That's good to hear if you're a Parabellum fan, but saying that they were good in the Canadian League is like saying D2 is playing great in GSA against the German National League. GSA, different caliber than Invitationals. I think Canadian League, also different caliber than Invitationals. I'll trust that Parabellum puts up a good fight. They did pick the map, but I wouldn't count out G2 just yet. At a certain point, does embarrassment play a role? Big names in G2 losing to a CL team, does embarrassment tilt you extra? I don't know if it'll tilt you until after the game is over, Hannibal. I think there's a bit of shame. The thing is, right, it's not like G2 slapped the group stage and came to playoffs as like top of the group, and now they're losing to Parabellum, right? It's not like, holy shit guys, we're losing to CL teams. No, it was G2 struggling through groups, only beating APAC and Dark Zero, who has been playing underwhelmingly themselves, barely making it out of groups, just barely, and now they're struggling against Parabellum. That probably helps you with the tilt factor, because it's not like G2 came out on top thinking, oh, we're so great, oh, we're gonna fucking slap these guys. I'm pretty sure G2 came into this thinking Parabellum might just be our biggest opponent because it's map by map, match by match, game by game. Because if they lose, they're out. So I don't think necessarily that underestimation or even embarrassment plays that big of a factor. But of course, I think you saw a bit of a mood swing if you looked at G2's cameras. The first couple rounds, they were laughing, smiling. They got some iffy rounds, the kayak clash round, etc., the kitchen round. They had some good things going for them. They had some very close calls with retakes and clutches. But then about round 5 or round 6, where the game got turned a little bit around by Parabellum slowly but surely, we saw less and less of that like happy vibe and momentum from G2. I'm not saying you gotta be happy when you're losing, but you gotta be able to lead your troops out of the trenches when it goes bad. And that's something that every single team needs a yes man, as we call it, or as I call it, and that is like the Elemsh. Leon Gitsav Rogue, Elemsh of BDS. Guys that say stupid shit for fun, that keeps like the morale and the mental game on point for the team. I think it's very, very, very important. The host just said that G2 never lost a game against an American team. Yeah, it's true. I have never lost a team game to an American team, and you know, neither has G2 because I've been with G2 the entire time until now. So in 6 years of professional play, I've never lost to North America. Never. I retired with that stat intact. Thank you, Juicy Lucy. How big a role does a coach play in a tournament like SI? I think different coaches, they have different impacts because they do different things. People often ask me, what does a coach do, Pengu? Well, Shaz does something, but like Information C does a second thing. Pojo Man from GSM does a third thing. And some coaches don't do fuck all, they just get paid, right? Every team needs their coach to do different things. They need different things from the coach. Same with the analysts. Like, sure, you all need statistics, no doubt about it, but everyone needs the specifics of their job to be different. Some teams need a mental coach. Some team needs a strategical coach, like this map, do this map operator band, do this strat, right? Some team needs a coach that's hands-on, some teams needs a coach that's hands-off. Everyone needs different things. Generally speaking, the coach is, to put it simply, it's about taking away the stress of the players and what they need to focus and worry about. In a perfect world, the coach should take care of map bans, operator bans, any issues like a manager, you know, like if I'm on T2 and I got issues in my personal life, it's arguably like my coach's job to make sure that that doesn't impact my performance by trying to taking care of it as good as possible, right? Whether it's talking to me about it or trying to help me about it or saying that he's gonna get someone to help me so that I don't gotta worry about it. If I got a tax problem, he's gonna figure it out with me, you know, like in game and out of game. But at the same time, time, the players need to understand the value of the operator ban. Why they're doing a certain map ban. What kind of map advantage you need to go to. What kind of strategical setup you need to approach. What operators are good in certain situations. Because remember, when the game starts, the coach cannot talk except for during a 60-second timeout. Or it might even be 45 seconds even. So, it's super important to coach your team in a way that allows them to bring the tools to the game themselves. This was a big discussion that was had back in 2018, 2019, back in EG's era, where there was this like rumor going around that EG was so dependent on their coach that when the game started and their coach couldn't talk anymore, they would be kind of lost. Whereas G2 and Penta back then, we were known for the opposite. Shaz always worked in the shadows. He never took credit, he never did interviews, he never went on stage like to do anything like, you know, publicly. And more importantly, Shaz always coached us to have the ability to do everything he does, but as players. Which means when enemy bans the Maverick, we go, oh guys, now we gotta play around this objective. Oh, Thatcher's open, let's do an EMP economy strat where you play Mute Bandit Kite, right? Oh, they're not playing Soft Breach, let's play Castle. Oh, they're not bringing the IQ, let's play Valkyrie, right? Like figuring out the nitbits of the rounds. Because it's so easy to watch as a spectator and go, oh well, they're playing Valkyrie, why don't you play IQ? But when you are in the game as a player, it's so hard to keep track of your own performance, callouts, drone count, strats, operator bans, map bans, the round, the previous round, the next round, because you're always keeping track of 3 rounds in a row, right? There's a 3 bumps up rotation on defense, and you want to keep track of the previous round, aka did they play the IQ of Valkyrie, you know? Then you want to play the current round, are they now playing IQ of Valkyrie? And you gotta look at the next round as in, are they going to play the IQ of Valkyrie? So, in my opinion, you're always looking at 3 rounds at once, kind of. And you're always trying to, at the same time, reset so that you can do like the current round, you know, drone count. What walls are reinforced? Where was the ADS? Did they favor one side of the map? Did they have a roamer? Did they have verticality C4s? Was there a hole in this wall? There's so much to keep track of. So again, to put it short, coach's job for most players and most teams is to take away as many elements away from the player so the player can focus on his game to win and to do his job. And then you have, you know, the 1 IGL or maybe the 2 IGLs that will take care of that in-game. You know, they will be like, alright guys, now we're gonna do this.
It is. There is
they take more control.
There is opportunity for runouts and, you know, players that can really.
Yeah, she has a big backbone for sure.
Destructible Villa is.
For sure.
Shares some of that quality.
Maverick Thatcher ban. So it's gonna be a. Depending on the mirror ban, it's going to be a very defender-sided. I imagine we get mirror banned here, because with Thatcher and Maverick both banned, it's like absolute clown fiesta if it's not banned. So I do expect the mirror to go out from D2 here. And I think G2 has to respect the mirror. I'd be very surprised if they didn't.
Or do they look to try and remove some of that information?
Nope, they don't. Okay, mirror's gonna be open.
Poor old Valkyrie goes.
So Valkyrie actually getting prioritized over the mirror despite the Thatcher and Maverick ban. You could easily, arguably easily, you could bring the IQ with no trouble here.
In terms of the attacking bans, this makes
because we saw Parabellum play mirror with pretty good success on Villa.
A bit of an issue.
Let me change it around so Parabellum is attack.
Any operators to deal with the denial.
Yes, and put the round score to 0 here.
You're looking at. So that's going to make the kitchen much more defender-sided.
Let's do this. Team 1. Space Station.
Bakery
7?
Used to be the take you'd go for.
And we're just gonna do this.
Is out of favor now. A lot of teams just taking in towards the top floor, in towards the mid floor, utilize the destructibility that you can bring with either a sledge or a buck, and then really targeting that freezer. That is where I say
G2 missed the window to continue being the great team that they now. Wait, what? G2 missed the window, their window, to continue being the great team. What they have now, the window is close to winning anything big. I don't necessarily agree with like G2 missed their time. I don't think it's like, oh, you only have, you know, it's not like It's not like breeding, you know, where like there's like an opening where, oh, now the two fucking monkeys can fertilize each other. You know, like, no, it's like you can always work on improving and being a better team. There's no like season or openings or limited periods. You can always improve, always play better. You can't always have a baby because there's certain mating seasons, right? G2 is not a season or a mating season. They are just a team. I can always do better. The thing is, everyone is trying to improve against each other, against themselves at the same time. Which means you're fighting yourself, you're fighting each other, and you're fighting everyone else at the same time. And you have roster changes. You know, you lose a player, you gain a player, different teams get mixed and matched. There's a lot of moving parts. New map comes out, like new map gets banned in Pro League, like the meta changes. Because you could look at, let's say G2 for example. You can look at G2 now and say, okay, they're like pretty bottom. Like they're not playing that great, right? And something as simple as like, let's say G2 struggles against Mira, like massively. Let's say Mira gets nerfed, or Mira's banned, or Mira stops getting played because the meta changes. Now G2 is like a middle pack team because one of their biggest counters is gone. Right? Let's say that Clash becomes unplayable. She's so bad now. That's a very big window for BDS, for example, on something like Cafe, where they played Clash almost every single round, 2 games so far this tournament. So if Clash became unplayable, you could argue that BDS looks a lot weaker on Cafe. Obviously BDS being a top tier team, they got so much more going for them than just a Clash. But there are these all like super small intricacies that can make or break certain teams in certain maps. I don't think T2's problems are that simple, however, but it's not uncommon to see a team do great out of nowhere, or maybe even do great and then become bad out of nowhere. Secondary fights here, Penguin and Virtue slapping each other SMGs. Penguin finds the wallbang, realizes it, yep. 2 for 2, man leveraged out, Kento enters back, Escat gets taken down, Penguin is injured, Spirit deep in piano with no help to be found. Castle barricade a runic gate in his way, and man is a bit deep with no help to be had, and G2, despite losing early men, actually finds the round. SSG's dominance was boosted by utility meta, I feel. I agree. I see the same for teams that are... Look at this similar, right? If you're a native speaking team, BDS speaks French, everyone is native French. If you're an American team, and like all your players are American because they don't really do that many imports, right? Then you all speak English. If you're G2, you have Finnish, English. It's not that wild anymore, but back in the day we had like, you know, fucking German and Danish and English and fucking Finnish and Swedish and, you know. But if you're basically non-native, you might struggle more in a more team dynamic meta. Like, let's say, the utility meta. Because during the utility meta, it required a lot of communication, a lot of synergy, a lot of coordination. And if you're not native and you got a bit messier communication, you can easily argue that you're at a bit of a disadvantage. If you're in a super loose, crazy, aggressive meta, you could even argue that being, you know, not native would be fine, because you just play off synergy. You just kind of play off the feel. And I think non-native teams might even be better at that because their communication isn't relied upon. So they rely heavily on synergy, on feel. And that's what the Penta team used to do. I mean, half our team didn't even fucking speak English, dude. So we had to just play off feeling and play off like YOLO, you know? Like, our communication was so trash. It was disgusting. We used to look at Dark Zero's Twitter clips and be like, guys, if we had Dark Zero's comms, we'd be the best team in the fucking world. Even though we were pretty much the best team in the world already, right? And I was so horny for it. I was like, I wish we could. And then every time I said that, my team would be like, we can't ever get that. And I was like, you're right. Like, we probably can't because we're not native. Didn't stop us from trying, but we did try. And we did actually improve our callouts massively with that inspiration in mind that we could be like Dark Zero. But it would never work for us. Never. And playing super slow and super organized, if anything, hindered our performance because it required too much effort on the communication side of things. You know? Are coaches allowed to instruct players mid-game? Nope, you can't even touch your players mid-game. At least not back when I was a player. Back in Paris Major, Jonas was having like, he was like tilting, I think, at one point or something like that. I think it was in Paris. During some event at least, Jonas was having like a bit of like a bad time. And Shaz was gonna like shake his shoulder and be like, you know, come on, dude. Like loosen up. And the coach or the admin was like, nah, no touchy. So no, as far as I know, you can't interact or talk or do anything with your players outside of the timeout. If you do take the timeout, you can do so. Spirits walks up very aggressively. Finds Kai and almost finds the White Stairs player right after. Would have been quite the injury frag right there. Different way of clearing with the bar. Oh my lord, Kanto, good night. And that is what happens when you don't hit the head but hit the body. Spirit strikes back. That would almost have been an insane injury triple from Spirits. This guy has opened up the round for his team massively already. With a minute left to go, all they gotta do is clear out this cocktail player and then start working towards the verticality. Only one guy upstairs on the side of G2. Help comes from White Stairs. Injure comes throughout. Trades comes back. Euphoria founds Virtue. And Citizen finds back Sonar Prep C4, but it doesn't matter because Euphoria finds two of his own. And Parabellum with the most ridiculous round that we don't see ever in Europe. Walking in with confidence, just taking pure confrontational gunfights. They pulled around through.
Not the most iconic zone here on Cafe, but that was where that.
What is a tactical timeout? You can do it once per map, I believe, from each team. It's a 45 to 60 second timeout where the round gets paused during like the prep phase, so the beginning of the round, where the coach can talk to their players for that 45-60 second duration. Generally speaking, you take a timeout for 3 reasons. 1 is to untilt your players. 2 is to kill momentum. Say the enemy won 3 rounds in a row, 4 rounds in a row. You take that timeout to change the momentum and kind of like shut them down a bit in terms of like momentum, and you go again. And 3 could be for a strategical thing. Like let's say that your coach has seen that, oh, they always have one guy lurking, and you know you keep dying to it. So yeah, guys, always have a guy lurking. Keep that in mind. They're weak when they do this bomb side. Remember, they don't play IQ ever, so bring the Valkyrie if it's open, bring the Echo if it's open, you know? So it can be momentum, anti-tilt, or strategical. That's like the 3 timeout versions that we see. Why didn't G2 take a timeout first map? They did. G2 did take a timeout first map. They took it, I believe, right after the side swap, when they started losing the second round, I think. They did take a timeout. Parabellum didn't, I don't believe, but G2 did.
That's just going to be surrendered here by G2. Not the end of the world.
Can both the coaches speak during one team's timeout? Yes, when one team takes a timeout, they both get it. And that's why you can do like momentum killers. It's not like if G2 takes a timeout, they gotta be silent on Parabellum. No, if G2 takes a timeout, Parabellum can also talk. But the difference is, G2 chooses when to have a timeout, which means they have something prepared to talk about, whereas Parabellum, they might not have anything. Obviously, if a timeout happens, Parabellum would find something to talk about, like, "Are we feeling good, guys? Let's fucking go, keep it up," you know. It could be just keeping up the morale. It could also be, "Oh, guys, I noticed this," you know, like strategical stuff. So if one guy or one team takes a timeout, the other guy gets it too. Both teams have one per map, which means you could see both teams take it at some point during the same map for different reasons.
Very, very important to have.
Why do both teams wear headphones? For microphone. Microphone, headphone, and then in-ears is audio. Oh, Eska. Early kill doesn't go through. Uno's thick helmet boy keeps him alive. If that was the old hit wreck with the old hitboxes, Uno would have been dead long ago. But he lives another couple of minutes at least before he might have to fight another day. Another time. Not a big loss. It's not like Eska took damage, but a bit frustrating nonetheless not to find what you want there. PB's coach got kicked for talking to him. Oh, whoa, okay. Fair. I don't know, I thought they had a coach, or they had someone tweet, because during the group stage, I think it was Parabellum, somebody tweeted that they couldn't be with their players because they got locked out or some shit. So I think they have like a quote-unquote coach.
Maybe perhaps go for a flank, I'm not sure. Just trying to cover.
Parabellum are planting. I don't think G2 realizes they have bubbles and echo drones, but they don't have any info on this. The bubble and the echo drone are right next to him in the ceiling, and they have no idea this plant was going down. Parabellum are unsynchronized. Out of nowhere, wildcard plan that came off pace. The benefit of off-pace plans or off-pace plays in general is that they are so hard to predict because they don't make a whole lot of sense. Parabellum was still setting up the vertical play and had not pushed the trigger on the engage. But Pengu was still planting regardless, and it caught D2 off guard. Bomb goes down. Uno with a sliver of health. Might just save the KD and live next round. Don't think there's much you can do with 8 seconds left. They might as well just talk it out. That was both the Maestro bubble and the Echo Yokai drone. They were both alive, by the way. The spectator showed it. The bubble was in kitchen, right next to the planter, like across the room, but still. And the Yokai drone was right above the freezer door next to the ventilation unit. Again, they were both watching the quote-unquote wrong area of the basement bomb site for that specific instance. They were both watching what we call woman, but he planted bunker near the window. So, yeah, off-pace works. And this is the big issue with bump deny strats. Relying on Echo and Maestro and, let's say, smoke grenades or C4s, it can always go wrong. Always. So can gunfights, don't get me wrong, but you would never get that scenario if somebody was playing aggressive front forward in woman or in bunker. Because then you would have a confrontation with a gunfight. There would be a call out, hey guys, they're doing something, right? Now, everyone's sitting far back, and the guys on drones weren't super aware of it. It was a bit interesting because not everyone from G2 was alive. And even if they were, I mean, one guy should probably be on cameras to be like, yo guys, they're doing stuff. You pretty much always want to have one guy on cams at almost any given moment if there are weaknesses in the strat. Whether it's a flank or a certain part of the map or a plant going down. G2, speaking of tactical timeouts, they have taken a tactical timeout of their own. Not sure if it's an untilder or changing up the game again. Could just be to bring it back after a confusing round. Building back momentum and morale early on could be the savior of D2, seeing as once they fall deep into their pit where they clock themselves out, it's when it gets really dire, right? If G2 lost like another round, they've lost 3 out of 4 defenses on Cafe. That's really bad statistically. You want to get at least 3 defense rounds, at the very least, to be happy, I would say. 2 is like what you need to be alive to win the attacks. You need 3 to be okay, 4 to be like happy, you know? You definitely don't want a 1-5 split. So if they can take an early timeout and bring it back up, that's probably better than falling back down. I've been in a few situations myself where... both Kento checked the Echo Drone and Maestro checked the Maestro Bubble as well, Hannibal. That's what I saw as well. Like, that's what I'm saying, that both the Maestro Cam and the Yokai Drone were on the woman's side of kitchen, and he was planting on the Windows side that we call bunker. So they checked the cameras, but the cameras only oversaw one of the possible 2 plant positions. So yeah. I've been in a few positions myself, notably 2018 Invitationals. I thought we had lost, honestly. In my head, we're fucking done. Like, we didn't beat EG. You know, I was sitting there, I was like, let's take in this beautiful stage, this beautiful crowd, and this great experience because we're about to lose. You know, when we're down 2 maps. I sat there and I was like, you know what? I'm in the fucking grand finals where every single player wants to be. And I might be about to lose, but I'm fucking here in the grand finals. Then we won. I was like, holy shit, dude, we won. It's great. So we're not trying to kill this guy with his clone. But yeah, like, I've clocked myself out mentally before. Obviously, I came back. It's not like I played shit, but I did think we had lost. And yeah, you don't want to clock yourself out ever if possible. Why do you call it woman? We have a woman call out on most maps. On Villa, we have a woman call out. On Oregon, we have a woman call out. On Cafe, we have a woman call out.
There was sort of remnants of an east side take when we saw them attack onto
Coastline, we have a woman call out, I think. Have we? Actually, we don't have a woman call out on Coastline. We don't. We had, I don't know, woman call out Star on Oregon. Because of white window? Because saying white window kind of sucks. So obviously somebody made a sexist joke, like back, 5 years ago. Tunisiano made like a sexist joke, like, oh, that's a washing machine, let's call this white window woman. Which, that today it's a bit more rough than it was 5 years ago when people didn't give a shit about that kind of stuff. But there's no harm intended with the call out. It is actually a really good call out. It is. For us at least, as like non-native speakers. So in kitchen we have bunker and woman because they're both a bunker essentially. Like they fit the call out bunker that we use. Like they're a safe area. But we can't call them bunker 1 and bunker 2. So we just have like a filler word woman for things that we don't know what to call. Like it's not even related to kitchens. Like on Villa, woman is in master bedroom near the near the fucking the 2 windows in master bedroom that leads to bathroom. We call that woman. There's no reason for it. It's just we didn't know what to call it. Then we changed it to ice and fire because one is passive, one is aggressive. Oh lord, dude, this is messy. G2 might salvage this 2v2. Post plan is not that great. They can't see it from the roof. So G2 only has to figure out this cocktail player. The Skylight guy is gonna, give great cover. But he can't deny the bomb site plant, and Uno finds him. Now they can long arm and hold the Skylight drop down. They have the time to work with here. This post plant is terrible. Now we can plant. Or now we can defuse either. Cover comes out. The disc is alive. Unless the wall bank comes to Euphoria. This round is on G2's side. And there it is. Great plan from Parabellum, but the post plant position of Skylight is the wrong spot to be in. If anything, he should have been rappelling on the new balcony window right next to where Uno would be. That way you have an angle either through the right-hand side or through the rotate. If not, you can also just go inside the building, of course, and try and help out Sledge with some crossfire or anything of the kind. To be fair, the guy on Skylight could have actually held the rotate that Uno went through to kill the Sledge in Cocktail. For some reason, he wasn't. So I'm not sure what he was holding. But yeah, in G2, we have a lot of like unique callouts, because unique callouts are better than generic like white stairs, white window, white hallway. We have like long, short, we have fire, eyes, we have woman, pixel, we have 90, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, just very, very difficult.
G2 that round also finding a lot of weird kills. Oh, sonar? Oh my lord. Man just killed the desk.
It's something we've praised them for previously when they have been able to get those plants down.
They've had great plants and
they've had really good plants.
What about the dew call out? We don't use the dew call out anymore. We use this freezer, but we used to have a dew call out.
Off default, pretty, just out there and unable for G2
we used
to really do anything about. And then I think back to that
it started because of bank. There's like now they say like Juice has like big nose and a lot of money, right? So like there's like all the money in main lobby behind the desk. We used to call that Jew because like money, right? Another like generic Pepega meme. So in bank we had a Jew call out, yeah, back in the day. Don't anymore. We pretty much scratched all the toxic call outs. Like we used to have an Adolf call out as well, because there was like a book and someone said, it's Mein Kampf, the book, and I was like, okay. Again, back in year 1 we had a player called Tunisiano. He was a big memer. And he would always, he would make those kind of call-outs. True story. He literally, on Chalet, there's like the glass case with a book in it. And he's like, yo, it's Mein Kampf. And he would just call that spot Adolf. Again, 5 years ago, it wasn't a big of a deal as it is nowadays. But we chose, when we joined G2, to like cut those call-outs and make more like non-toxic, so to speak, callouts.
In the preparation for that and not keeping an eye on it, but gonna lose the Iana.
So when they do it on the boss, like everyone knew Tunisiano like that. Everyone knew him. It's not a secret. The guy hasn't played Siege in many years. But no, he was a really funny guy. But he also was like itchy guy, And we as a team, obviously, we all agreed to it. It's not like we're any better. But we are better now. Like we don't have those calls anymore. I'm not saying it because I'm proud of it. I'm saying it because it was a mistake, if anything. I would advise getting better callouts than we had. That's for sure. Kayak finds Euphoria. Big kill from him. Kayak a bit left alone here. Walls are reinforced around him. He could fall back via wide hallway, but no, he gets shot down by Spirits. Refire comes up from Citizen. Very nice from Kayak to both get a kill and get traded back. Putting a lot of value in a clutch position. Kayak has these occasional rounds where he gets to play Jaeger. It's like the third map we see it on, where sometimes he just gets to play in a corner, play Jaeger, and do stuff. It's very nice. Team 1 5-1 right now. Okay. 5-1. It's not toxic, it's funny. It is funny, but not as much anymore. Like as I said, 5 years ago, saying stuff that was like borderline itchy wasn't a big deal. Doesn't mean it's any better than saying it now, but nowadays it's a lot more like hush hush or like bad to say those things or think those things. I feel like.
That isn't a kill that you can really afford to lose at this point.
I understand that you shouldn't joke about a lot of stuff, but when you're just playing 5 friends in a video game, usually just, if it works, it works. Nowadays you get cancelled if you say that stuff, or people, they come at you. And they're not wrong for it, but they're not right for it either. Like, people... Cancel culture is ridiculous. Bottom line. Like, it's so scary. Like, one day you tweet the wrong thing, say the wrong thing, boom, you're done. Literally cancelled, dude. 6 years of hard career work. Nope, done. 1v2 now. Parabellum, Citizen on the clutch. Plant goes down from PB. I don't know if that's the player. You should frank it out. Now it comes down to 1v1 with Citizen on the cover. And Citizen wins that every single time. Ben wins the 1v2. Parabellum had time to go for the kill 2 versus 1. They chose to plant. With a single guy covering the angle against one of the best gunners in Europe and arguably in the world of Citizen. Could argue that that might have been a mistake. Not only that, but the sledge had to cover from a very pre-fireable and predictable position. Someone like Ben would rarely if ever lose that gunfight. Bit surprised Sledge didn't prone just to fuck with the angle pre-fire, but regardless. Oh god, Hannibal.
5 versus 3.
5 versus 3, and that comes down to
Arrow Citizen.
1 versus 2.
Very well done.
Uno in that position was...
So now the split is getting better, 3-2. We can work with this. Maybe that timeout was well needed in the end. Uno swinging hatch with a shotgun there.
That's a shotgun you're gonna have to drop into.
I don't know. Uno didn't have to swing. He could have stayed hiding, waiting for the drop, or at least peek with SMG 11, I feel like. But he swung with a shotgun. It's a bit...
He's been phenomenal. Look back to his Pro League finals in Japan.
No, exactly, Bad X. That's why we changed the callouts, right? We changed the callouts because, they weren't good for streaming. They weren't good if G2 would make like a voice comm video, and they weren't good if ESL or Face It would record our comms. So we changed the callouts a long time ago. We also have a Zulu callout. It's something in chat asked about. It's like a set, like Zulu is the military alphabet. And you can also call it C or set. Basically, there's a lot of areas in Siege that are built like a set, right? Like if you give like Aqua Hallway and Coastline, it goes like this, You got Aqua double door here, and you got the window here, the white stairs, and you got the white stairs here. That's a set, right? So we call this Zulu. And then opposite of that, in the VIP hallway, we have Alpha. Right? So you have Zulu opposite of Alpha. Alphabet, So that's like super common for us to use. Just like the windows in Siege always go 51, 52, 53, because there's a single window and there's 2 windows. So map design in Siege has a lot of similarities across every map, or most maps at least. Oh, nice. Again, Parabellum beating the Cloud9 of playoffs so far. Opening kill left and right and center. Kanto and Smoke being found early is actually a very big kill for this basement defense, as they don't have the Maestro and the Echo. And Uno also, Bakery player found out, taken down. Spirits traded with the injure. Spirits doing some very ridiculous injuring here, but working in their favor nonetheless. He will get up on his feet with 20 health left, and now G2 has to lash out and find something to bring them back. Citizen on the roam game here. Could be the guy to bring it back. Doesn't find the planter, almost very low on health. Now, the Maestro would have been massive, but he's not on the board. So with the smoke, but also dead. C4 comes out, gets shot mid-air. And Kai gets shot down. This looks like a round 4 Parabellum. Citizen is flanking Freezer and Virtue on the vertical play, but Parabellum's positions are strong and they are reinforced. They don't need to fight or challenge Virtue on the holes. They can sit back, relax, and wait for that time to tick down, as it so does. And Esk with a nice crossfire with Mr. Penguin. Virtue now 1v2, I think, because the camera's blocking the rest. Has to do the impossible. If the C4 connects, it could be a great stop, but it doesn't. And the crossfire gets established. Penguin Barry 9 kill, sorry. Yeah, Barry 9 kill. Ends the round. Parabellum with another explosive plant ties it up 3 for 3 on Cafe attacks before we swap to the defensive side of things. Yeah, it was 1v3 or 1v2, it was 1v3. So even if C4 connected, he still had 2 more guys to find. Side flooded. G2 annihilated. And the opening kills from Parabellum here. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. That's C4 shot though, from Eska. These guys are shooting C4 for sport. It's like shooting those fucking clay birds in the air. 3-3 Cafe is not good. 3-3 Cafe is perfectly fine. Like both teams are happy with this. G2 are happy that they got, 3 rounds when they were down. Parabellum is happy they get 3 attacking rounds, period. Parabellum could have gotten 4 easily if they played that 2v2 better early on top floor plant. Post plant, that is. So I would say both teams are happy. G2's the happiest, because it could have been worse. And it probably couldn't have been much better.
The rounds that have gone in Parabellum's favor, particularly downstairs, have been pretty convincing.
However,
on the screen, the 2 plants,
if G2's gonna attack on Cafe, same way they attacked on Villa, it's a bit worrying. I don't remember seeing G2 bring in Mirror, and the first round we see Parabellum bring it. Remember, the Thatcher is banned, the Maverick is banned. So the Mirror is quite strong. Kenzo got sick of it, traded back onto Eska. I don't know if he was spawn peeking or running by, but look at he died in the window. I assume he spawn peeked with Malusi. And we see a replay here. Yeah, he was spawn peeking. He was shooting back at Kento. Spawn peek came out. Parabellum bringing the momentum in the fire, or not momentum, they got shut down actually, but bringing the aggression in the first round. It's a good way to try and catch G2 off guard. I actually think that was a nice and valiant try. Not giving them any ground whatsoever. Something I love when teams do is if you're in piano, when the round starts, and you just like shoot at the window, punch it, you can waste a lot of extra time just forcing the attackers to be afraid of those windows, having to ADS and hold them as they walk towards the building, instead of fully sprinting. It's something super small, but you can waste another 10, 15, 20 seconds easily. And when the round, comes down to low count, having those 20 seconds less to work with an attacker really comes into play. Penguin swings out, trade comes through. 2 versus, or 2 down, oh sorry, ignore me dude. I thought it was a 2v2 trade. It's a 1v2 trade. Only Kayak got taken out. That means another round for G2 without a hard breach against a mirror setup nonetheless. It doesn't even matter that PB didn't bring a mute because G2 can't breach any walls. Now G2 has the buck. What they could do here is rotate to a downstairs library take, do vertical play into cocktail, into vodka, and they could actually start working on a window repel strat. So instead of taking the hatches and taking, the cigar and piano, you actually just repel on the east side of the map, cocktail, etc. Clear it out with the buck. You can rabble in, come up white stairs maybe even. White stairs is a bit tricky, but it might work. They need to do something at least here. They are doing east stair side take, but it doesn't look like they have any interest in the vertical. It looks like they just want to go up the staircase. This refrag is important. Goes to the Banshee. Refrag is good from Citizen. Cancel finds Euphoria. And now it's just Sonar in cocktail. What looked like a less than ideal situation for G2 actually got turned back into their favor. I didn't personally think just walking up white would do any good for them. C4 finds the likes of Uno, but Ben is there to shut Sonar down, and G2 finds their first attacking round. Opening kill from Kento, quite important there. They needed that manpower to brute force the white stairs.
So yeah, great stuff. Mirror windows without the Habana. You're gonna be running into a brick.
I want to say it was a nice adaptation from G2, realizing they didn't have a hard breach and couldn't contest piano side. But let's say Echo didn't start sprinting away on white stairs once the first guy came up of Jake. let's say the Echo stuck around and killed them both, then what G2 had was one guy cocktail window and one guy white hole window. Which means they're both being held by a guy on site, one holding each window respectively.
Euphoria tried his best in that situation. I'm surprised he turned around, you know.
So yeah, I'm surprised Euphoria turned around. Had he stuck the angle, could have been a different round.
Like, that's dying for your cause.
6-2 is his G team 1.
But then it enabled the swing. It enabled the flood to open. Just little things like that really separates G2.
I wouldn't say so, James, no. I wouldn't say so. I don't think players often hold grudges, because it's not like I wanted to leave the team. It's not like I said, yo, you guys suck, I'm better, I want to leave, you know. It was me retiring. It wasn't me saying, guys, I don't think we're going to work out, you know. I had full faith in our roster. It was me retiring. I don't think anyone can really be mad about that. You know, I think it's really hard to keep that against anyone. Because I'm no longer a competition, I'm no longer an enemy, you know? If I could go to a different team with all their strats and documents and knowing the inner workings of G2 and all their details, I would be pissed probably, because you feel kind of screwed over, you know, betrayed in a way. But I'm not going anywhere with their secrets, I'm just retired, you know?
Any pressure that does come in from White is going to need to be...
So no, I don't think anyone is holding any grudges.
Carefully measured there. Big question about Kayak inside of this round.
It was Eska that was the spawn peeker, chat, not Sonar. Because it was Eska and Melusia last round.
I know that we saw the pellets on the wall last time, but we weren't actually able to be detonated. I think the mute of
also, I made it very clear to G2 that I wanted to step down like 8 months in advance, I think it was. 6 months in advance, 8 months in advance. Well, then about half year in advance, give or take. So it wasn't like with Canadian where I retired and then that's it. No, I told them like way in advance. That's why I got put on Thermite. I got put on Thermite because they were gonna pick up a support player when I left. So I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna let them play their main roles and I can just play support. And then when I leave, they can pick up a support player and then they can take my spot. And that's what we did. You know, I played support, they picked up a support player in Kayak, and everyone else got to play their primary roles. So in the European finals against BDS back in January, that's why I played Thermite. That's why I played hard support. Because we were preparing for me to retire. That's the only reason why I got off the flex or secondary support.
Yeah, they've been able to get themselves into shop there as well, as Kayak has done his job.
Because before that it was Virtue on hard support, I believe. And then we swapped it so that I played hard support and I played Kali instead of Virtue.
In the launcher. It's much slower.
Do I scrim anymore with the boys? No, of course not. I haven't scrimmed in since January. It's been a while. After EU finals, they started practicing with Kayak. So that was my last time with them, pretty much. I think we had like a week of scrims maybe, or so, give or take, week and a half of scrims. But they were trialing different players and scrimming with Kayak in anticipation for the new roster. Now, Execute comes through, explosive round, PP finds 2, Virtue deep in trouble, Citizen bottom white stairs, bit far away from the Execute. Finds Spirit, Banshee in the way, Mirror comes dropping down, dropping bombs. Parabellum ties it up 4-4.
Parabellum say no thank you, not twice in a row.
From the top rope.
Allowed to say who they considered? Nope. I can tell you that G2 trialed 3 players. 3 players, I believe, yeah. That I know of, at least. I won't say who or what teams they're from, but they trialed 3 players. Or considered 3 players, at least. I think they scrimmed all of them. That's why some pros started DMing me like, yo, why aren't you scrimming with G2? I was like one time I was streaming. And then Kovana came into my chat, who was in Pro League, right? And they're like, yo, Pengu, we're scrimming in like 5 minutes. Why are you streaming, you know? Or Kovana was being nice about it. He just said check DMs. He didn't expose me. But someone that we were scrimming, not Kovana, they came into my chat and was like, yo, Ping, we got scrimmed in 5 minutes. And I was like, no. You have a scrim in 5 minutes.
A little bit Capcom maybe.
Well, no, Kovana was super nice about it. It was Gogona. He was like, yo, Pengu, check Twitter DMs. And the Twitter DM said, he said, yo, D2 isn't showing up for scrims. I assume you're not coming, but can you DM them about it? And I was like, of course. So Kovana figured out that, you know, or Gogona figured out that, you know, I wasn't going to play because I was streaming. Because I never stream when we scrim, of course. But there was one team that just went into my chat and was like, yo, where are you in scrims, dude? And I was like, fuck, dude.
It's just another tool
Imagine.
to add another 20 seconds onto a clear. And with a game of such fine margins, 20 seconds a massive amount of time.
It is. I think this game so far, Ollie, has been way too close to call. Very back and forth. I personally don't really know who's going to take this next round. I usually have like a good sense, but this map is just out the window.
I love the Capcan pick.
Trying to predict Cafe.
Whoa, any quick rounds? G2 with a rush. Ben finds one, Kayak finds the second. Bump will go down momentarily. We'll take action. Never mind, take that back. We'll go deep on side here. Now Bump goes down. Kanto finds one. System with a second as well. It's 4 kills inside of G2. Last man inside free, so that is Capcan. Does find Kanto, does get the drone, but this guy has almost nowhere to go. Nate gets tossed, shots are flying around. And now G2 basically securing this round off the bats. That is a very, very quick round. Arguably the fastest so far this playoffs, I imagine. Penguin starting the exit kills here by finding 2 players, but 2 no reward. If you blink, you might have missed the chat. G2 rushed from bakery and main door, I believe, and just collapsed onto side. Probably based off good pre-placed drones in prep phase, and just like that, they can run it down with that information. Them going deep into side, trying to take everyone down before planting was a great call. Kayak only started planting when he got met with too much resistance and when he got to that deep corner. They want to have as many guns up as possible for the push.
And try and pick up this next site. It's going to be kitchen and service again. I doubt that they're going to go for a rush this time.
Yeah, Citizen came in main door with Kanto. That's a nice way to execute it, though, to be fair. 2 guys main door, 3 guys bakery. Probably 1 guy on drones, I imagine. If not, they're just fucking... Yeah, 1 guy was on drones, at least at the end.
Nobody goes there. Parabellum.
Bonk, bonk, bonk.
Barricading off the prep. No, you know, nobody would ever barricade that off.
But I think Shen needs a defender buff. I think it's fine that some maps favor attack. I think it's kind of boring if every single map favors defense, you know? When Cafe came out and Villa came out, it was like 70% defender sided plus. Now it's more like, you know, 54, 55, 52. Like, I don't think a single map is like 60 plus on defense. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. Not averaged out, at least. And I think that's a great thing. As teams get better at attacking the maps and as strats get figured out on how to pick apart certain parts of the defense, it evens out better.
G2 have got something to say about that, I believe. And with the way that we've
but when Villa came out, dude, winning a defense, like going 6-0 or 5-0 would be completely normal on Villa. Like winning attacks just weren't a thing. Literally impossible. You still because you like attack more? No, I actually like defense more. I'm a defense player. I'm a defense player. Oh. He might have gotten the drone, but Jake got the kill. Penguin also got shot earlier from that white window repel. A little bit less than half health remaining. G2 setting up and holding down the fort pretty well. Kayak finds Penguin on the run back. G2 looking a lot stronger than before. Consolidated. Refraggable positions. Great roam clear. Good on time. They did not clear Spirits just yet. I don't think they know his whereabouts. So if Spirits plays this correctly, could be some damage. I think he could wait for longer in the round. Either that or he will go down earlier and see if he can create some chaos. He does find Kayak. Almost found Uno as well on the cross. But they're going to ignore this roamer entirely and rush the bomb site. They know there's only 1 guy holding down the fort. So they will try and challenge that instead. Virtue with a yellow ping, but a desk in the way between him and the kill. Spirits again, if he plays his cards right, he does have Diffuser in hand, it looks like. It is at least near him. So if Spirits and Euphoria could gang up together, align the guns into one area, that could be great. Spirits against the world. Penguin's Capcan Trap actually finds Virtue. It's a big kill. Spirits with an injury. Now you can just play safe. As long as Diffuser's there, you can fall back. Uno very low on health. Thora still has bomb site control and verticality will rain from above. Uno is in a really tough position here. Has to try and clear both Capcan traps and the player ankles and the Banshees that are gonna come with them. Remember, we already got one Capcan kill through, so another one wouldn't be too crazy. Uno has the right idea, but with no information on site, it's a guessing game, and Euphoria are playing the hide-and-seek game very well here. Once he starts planting, we'll see Spirits drop the hatch, and Euphoria walking up. They're gonna play this together. Uno gets off the plant and swings, but Euphoria finds the kill, and Parabellum actually saves the round off the lacked or missing roam clear from G2, not realizing exactly where Spirits was. I was praising the roam clear earlier because of their speed and the efficiency of getting 2 kills, but somewhere along the way, Spirits got through the cracks, and he got way too much value than he should have. He got 3 kills and diffuser control, almost killed Uno as well, so almost 4 kills for him. That was a 5v2, I believe.
He just killed the guy who was upstairs with you.
It was, yep, 5v2.
They ran away from him.
Euphoria found an injure kill on vertical. Spirits found 2 guys wide stairs plus the Iana, so 3 kills for him. Oh, sorry, Penguin Trap found the one. Forgot about that one. So 2 kills from each player and a Capcan Trap kill to finish it off.
Euphoria played a blinder from inside of the site. Using those reverse vertical angles, he managed to get.
Remember, Fabian played Capcan on Villa long time ago in a tournament, and we told Fabian that he was trolling because he was playing Capcan, and he clutched the round because his Capcan Trap got like an injure and a kill, or like an injure and like a damage someone. So like, I think it was like a 1v3, and his Capcan Traps got like 2 kills or whatever. And when he won the round, he kept telling us how overpowered Capcan was and how good he was and how we were trolling when we said he was trolling. I remember we were so salty because like Fabian, why the fuck are you playing Capcan? He's like, it's insane, trust. And then like he wins the round with it, like 1v3, and we're like, okay, this. And then Fabian became the Capcan main for like a little bit. He lost the Capcan. Yeah, versus Secret on Villa, yeah.
Who will be up against it and who gets a bit of a
It was Raleigh actually. Ah, nice. I knew it was like recent-ish, but whether it was Paris Major or Raleigh or Invite, I had no idea. Yeah, he was 1v3 in Master Bedroom, yeah. Just remember, he was giving us so much trash. He's like, Capcan's fucking insane! So every time we memed Capcan, he would always be like, who clutched 1v3 with Capcan, boys? We'd be like, you did, Fabian. You're so good. All Capcan's fault, you know? Or Capcan's, reasoning was Capcan. Oh, my lord. Jaeger recall. Oh, nice C4 from Penguin. Finds Uno to cover the run back. That is some great synergy right there. C4 could, you know, almost have taken out Spirits too, but well timed and well done. Great punishment to trade a shield and some ADSs for a kill.
Not been performing when needed.
6-4. All right, 6-4.
G2 again on the back foot.
And we got the final map. 3rd map going for SST T1. 2nd map for G2. 5-5 scoreline so far.
Very easily sweeps in. Tries to pick off some utility.
Megalodon gets taken down. Decent early value so far.
A lot of confidence in how he's playing this right
G2 can now breach the walls. Again, there is a kite on the board of PB. There is a bathroom wall left untouched, however, which will now favor G2's attack. I reckon they could open up the wall close left off Kayak on trash, and that could be a plant position perhaps. If not, we'll have to get fancy. We'll have to get creative or get explosive. Besides the smoke grenades, there is really only one C4 and a single yokai drone left. Citizen finds sonar on the smoke. That's going to be another piece of utility cleared for G2 for the plant when it's time. Uno gets found. Kenzo taken down. Kenzo gets found. Uno got taken down earlier by the C4. Rather. So now we're in the setup phase. G2 gonna do the classic open window for teammate trick. We saw them do this in a couple of games ago. Kayak's got the wrong gun for it. Having so few bullets, you can't quite get it. It's fine. Flashbangs will come through and the jump in will come as well. Citizen has to connect the shots here. He gets one. Might not know of the guy close to his left. There's a guy in freezer as well. Great crossfire. Kayak on the skylight. Last guy standing gets taken up by Spirits 2. As Spirits finds a double kill to end the round.
and series point here for
If Ben
Parabellum.
had known there was a guy hiding close left, I am quite certain Ben would have gone absolutely nuclear, getting both the cocktail, the close left guy, and possibly could even fight off the freezer player in spirits. But the lack of info when the man count is low is very hard to work with, as you're basically playing off info based on your eyes, not the drones, which means you only see what you see. And we're gonna go the entire distance. G2 will have to bring it to overtime now to take this map back. Oh, sonar.
G2.
Look at this angle, though.
I'm really worried for them here and now. They have to show us something.
This is the hard part. With the Thatcher being banned, Parabellum bringing a kite, locking down this freezer and stock position for Spirits, and he finds 3 kills from here, actually. Very well done. Again, maybe this would be time for G2 to play Buck and go below. I mean, they do have the Buck, but they're not activating the Buck. Buck right now is more like a flashbang machine than a skeleton key. I would have loved to see it below tech, where they go library, they do the vertical play, because they're using the window repels already. That has been their saving grace 2 rounds now. So if they combine that with the Bog vertical play below, they could just make a whole strat around it, instead of having to adapt around it and flex it off.
Anything from Citizen. We're asking for everyone else on G2.
Bring the Twitch. Bringing Twitch is not a bad idea. It's not great in this circumstance, but it's not a bad idea at all. I actually think with Valkyrie being banned, I would actually much rather see a Twitch instead of the IQ. That way you can get the, the yokai drones. If there was a, Maestro on the board, you can get the bubbles. You can get ADSs. The IQ is good, but Twitch brings a bit more utility, and the drone can get a bit more value as well. Could also open up for a rush here, for example. You can zap the Banshee as you're running the door. That's something we've seen a couple of times this tournament as well. So far. Thank you, Tino. Uno's having a hard time. I mean, it's not so much Uno single-handedly. It's like G2 as a team is having a bit of a hard time. Scoreline does show Uno being 2-9, but keep in mind that every player, despite the scoreline, has more value than they show. Citizen, of course, has 16 kills, doing great as always, I would say. He's been a stable, probably the only stable part of G2 this tournament, I would say. But it doesn't tell the full story. A lot of kills can be low value. Say you clutch your 1v1, that's only 1 kill, but that 1 kill got you a whole round on the board. Or you could be Citizen, have 16 kills, but 9 of them are people running away once they've been droned or been pinched by a teammate, There's free kills with low value, and there's high impact kills too, like a clutch, like a 1vx, like getting the opening kill, getting a smoke, for example, killing a guy, trying to kill your planter, denying the C4 midair, that is going to kill your planter. There's a lot of ways to find value that doesn't involve around the scoreboard, and it's very hard to keep track of it. There's also the IGL communication factor. Who brings what to the table, who comes with ideas, who's a moral booster. But yeah, bottom line is that G2's having a hard time as a team and sometimes as individuals, but all they need is one good round now to bring it into overtime, then they can work with that. Once they got some rounds they can lose, because right now if they lose one more, that will be the end. So this is a very, very, very round-breaking round for them. Thank you, Miss Fastman. Now, G2 again, facing obstacles. One wall is kited, wall 1 is muted. 5 versus 5, 25 seconds left against an Echo. They're gonna come up the white stairs as a Banshee in the way. Eska finds both Virtue and Kanzurikid. He doesn't look away this time, learned his lessons from the last. 2 versus 4, they could try and plant here, but it's gonna get messy. 1 versus 4, Kayak, the new guy in the team, last man standing, almost finds the mute dusk, finish him off. Has to run through the hallway and try and find more kills, but there's just no time left. And half of Parabellum are hiding, and one guy is fighting, and Parabellum does take out D2, and they are out of the tournament. D2 as an organization has now lost to a North American team for the first time ever. The core roster that goes back with Kanto, me, Fabian, and the guys. Kanto has now lost to a North American team as the only guy on the original roster. The rest of us retired before then. So we keep that, I guess, for us. There's a 2-0. 7-5 on Cafe. after a 3-3 split that both teams were happy with. And T2's gotta leave Paris within 48 hours.